Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And as many of you know, the upcoming fight with Conor McGregor is scheduled for this Saturday night. Now, from the get-go of the announcement of this fight, I have been utterly disgusted, reviled with the thought that this guy was even going to be able to be let into the octagon again before facing the violent rape allegations and evidence that was out there. Well, we're going to break down the entire Ariel Helwani interview. Normally, I would have John Fitch with me, but I believe he's having technical difficulties, so he may jump in on the show later. I'm not 100% sure. If not, we're just going to run through this, and we're going to take your questions. So get your questions. Normally in the mixed martial arts podcasts, mixed martial mindset as it is, we don't do a lot of question and answers. But I think because I'm on my own, we are going to do those things. Okay. So now that we're in the week of the fight, it's starting more and more to leak out that these sexual assault allegations are indeed real. And the other thing about them is this John right here by chance? ABS? No, that's something else. So much going on at once, guys. Anyway, I want to talk about how you can get the audio version of this podcast over at thegruelingtruth.com after the fact. That's where we post it, guys. Okay, let's put that over there. And John Fitch is at johnfitch.net. That's where you can find everything John Fitch. If you're not subscribed to his YouTube channel, hopefully it's starting to pick up some growth. He's doing a lot of interviews, which I really like. And I think he put one out today. I haven't caught that one yet. But I did catch his little bit on Morning a Terrorist. I was really hoping that we could have a bit of a back and forth on that because I liked his video, although I had some disagreements. But I think that's what's really great about an open dialogue. So hopefully John will be joining us. We'll find out soon. But as I said, now SB Nation, Bloody Elbow, most of this stuff was relegated to the message boards, usually heavily redacted, sometimes outright censored. Well, the times they are changing. I'm going to be doing my Reddit AMA. I think it's going to be tomorrow. I'm trying to knock down an actual time here. It's no, come hell or high water, it will be before the press conference coming up. Because the media does need to ask Conor McGregor about the sexual assault investigations. And before we get into any of that, I want to say this. And remember, get your questions in. I'm going to take all your questions, all your super chats, anything mixed martial arts, McGregor, please get them in the chat room, okay? Man, it's just one of those days. It's just really, it's hard because you're promoting this guy. We've all known it, right? And on top of you promoting this guy, and we all know what the allegations are, you whitewash it in a manner where what you do is you put him in there with one of your own players, a.k.a. Ariel Helwani, and he's not even allowed to say the term sexual assault. Not once. Not once, guys. In fact, he tries to have McGregor come clean and just comment on this stuff, right? Simply just make a comment. But he can't even do that. He can't even do that. And basically he tries to goad him into commenting on the sexual assault allegations a few times without saying the allegations. And, you know, McGregor like whispers at him, how would you feel if they said it about you, Ariel? How would they feel about you said it about you, Ariel? He says he's praying for guys like me that are basically spreading supposed malicious lies about him. And that the day will come. The day will come. Again, spineless non-journalism. And while this happens, right, what do we have? Oh, they're selling McGregor next to a teddy bear over a train set to your child. They're selling him to the casual WWE fans kid that doesn't even follow this, right? He's a toy. He's a hero. He'll take out your enemy. He's got his own line of sneakers. They don't even wear sneakers in the octagon. Sneakers aren't a thing. Okay? And then, on top of it all, they portray him as a David versus Goliath type character. I want to vomit. Hero worship. In fact, in the Ariel Helwani interview over here, in the interview, right, that you're looking at, the Love Fest, the Disney Love Fest, Disney sponsored, ESPN approved, he's in full Reebok gear. Type in, and you know what, why don't we do it here? Why don't we do it live for the audience? Okay? Why don't we do it live? Let's do it. We'll type in McGregor, Conor, Reebok. Images. I mean, they've got several lines of shoes. Here he is in his little cartoon superhero walkout shirt. Huh? I mean, products. Let's just type in product on top. Conor Reebok product. Let's do that. What do we got? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Huh. Men's, women's, hoodies, hat line, every t-shirt you could imagine. I'm still scrolling. We're not seeing a lot of doubles or triples here, are we? You know how much money this man is worth? He claims, due to the back end of his last fight, he made $50 million with Khabib. Now he's saying, remember, he's going to get a $3.8 million UFC payday. That's the guarantee. He says after all said and done, he's going to make $80 million on these fights. Now, a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that Kyle Cerrone is not going to get pay-per-view points, right? They're going to pay him a flat sum, maybe a bonus here or there, but definitely not pay-per-view points. Khabib was a champion, a.k.a. had to get the pay-per-view points. Do you get it? So that's why he's making more money. I don't expect them to sell more pay-per-views. I don't think he will either. Listen, he was completely humbled in this interview. He talked almost no shit, even not being challenged. And, I mean, he had nothing to say about any of the vast amount of evidence that he indeed is a violent rapist. Okay? So Reebok, Disney, ESPN, Ariel Helwani, I don't know how you can sit that close to another person and not just be enraged when you look at what's going on in the media, right? You now have what? What is it? You got SureDog also saying stories to watch. I think that they know that this might be his last fight before it's a full media festival. This is what we need. Burmese Brigade. We need the information I'm about to go over, not only out there, okay, but we need to disrupt this press conference. Period. We need people screaming at the press conference, rapist. We do. We need people filming it. We need people one at a time, as soon as the press conference starts up again, just going at it. Again and again and again. Disrupt it to the point that it's viral, that they can't hide it from people, that it makes headlines, and push this issue. I wish there was another way, but it's the only way at this point. It's the only way at this point. Okay? And if you're listening to this on thegruelingtruth.com, please, share this information. Get it out. Because do you want to see this guy make all this money when we have all this evidence against him? I mean, look at how they're selling this thing. McGregor's best quips before Thursday's UFC 246 press conference, right? There's a presser coming. Here it comes. Can't wait. Oh, he's been so outspoken. Just can't wait. But then, wait. If he goes too low, Cerrone has made a comeback. He could always fire back questions, McGregor, on the 2 open sexual assault investigations. That's Forbes.com. That's Forbes.com. And with a headline promoting the guy. By the way, that is Trent Reinsmith. And good for him. That's the one that wrote that really great article talking about UFC access. Okay? So it's starting to slip through the cracks. It's harder and harder not to realize what's really going on here. And so what is really going on here? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because let's calmly go through this. We're going to show this thread. And everybody that's not an anonymous account, by the way, I had somebody create an anonymous account. Oh, there's Fitch. Let's see what he's saying here. Well, let's see what he's got. Yeah, I'm grounded. Someone stole some equipment from my garage, and I can't stream until it's replaced. Total bummer, bro. That angers me. I just told the audience live. Just told the audience live. You could use your phone. Download Hangouts. Well, we'll see if we get them. But anyway, we'll see if we get them. I'm glad I got a smile on my face because there's not much to smile about here because this case is now over a year old. And you know what? Let's just click this original article. Let's bring them up one by one. It's about that time. Let's not just get the quote there. Let's read this one. This is over a year ago. Police say all the evidence. This is police. All right. Say all the evidence shows that mother of one was raped and very badly assaulted in that penthouse suite by the sportsman who was known to her. You know, and this is where I love that people say this is tabloids. IrishCentral.com is not a fucking tabloid. And it leads after a headline of woman too afraid to give statement on alleged rape because she's too scared at that point. Bam, take a look. Was raped and very badly assaulted in that penthouse suite. The woman who accused an international renowned Irish sports star, and we now know beyond a reasonable doubt that this is Conor McGregor. Okay, 100% if you read through that thread. And you know what? I'm going to take that thread right now. Get ready, because we're going to put it in the live chat. Remember, we're going to get to your questions and comments, too, as I promised everybody. Oh, we have a couple super chats. Did I miss those? I'm sorry, guys. I'm going back and forth here. There's that thread. And before we keep reading this. Hey, Jason, great work, usual, brother. Disney and Co. are so deep financially with McGregor, they have to put shamefully money above integrity. And then that is from Burn Bray Unknown. And then Tara Mothersbaugh. Where do I subscribe to you to your Rofkin? Rofkin.com/Jason Burmas. Okay. Or Rockfin. Man, I keep saying Rofkin. It's because the K and the F are too similar, I think. And I got to cut that out. So anyway, we have this police source, or all the police sources, saying that he did this. It's him. Yeah, again, you can scroll through that whole thing. It's him. And in the interview, he admits, because Ariel asked him how he was able to get into the country. He says, believe it or not, well, Ariel, the UFC, what a great company they are. Behind the scenes in the background, they're doing all, and this is before he brings up the allegations. Because without them, I mean, he had 19 convictions after punching that old man in the face. No problems getting in the country. All right. Oh, boy. To make a formal statement. On Monday morning, police were called to the woman's home where she made an initial complaint, okay? She alleges that she met the famous Irish sports star in Dublin while socializing with friends. The woman and sportsman, who were known to each other, then went to a high-end South Dublin hotel, but that what they don't say, it's with a group of people, where she alleges the sex attack took place. Police found her bruised and battered in her home and removed bloodied clothes from the premises before the woman, a mother of one who is in her 20s, was taken to the sexual assault treatment unit at the Rotunda Hospital for treatment by ambulance. Okay? A senior police source told the Irish Independent newspaper, again, not a tabloid, but let's chain link. Let's make sure everybody knows. Okay? Let's make sure everybody knows. All right? The victim is too afraid to make a formal complaint at the moment, but that could change at a later date, which eventually does at the end of December, early January. All right? The police source told the Irish Mirror, detectives and scenes of crime Gardaí arrived at the hotel on Tuesday evening. Their focus was to gather CCTV and examine any potential scene in the room to find traces that they could identify the attacker through DNA. CCTV footage, DNA evidence. That's what they gathered. The victim has not made a formal statement as of yet. She is in a deeply distressed state and is struggling emotionally. No arrests have been made. Initially, it was reported that the sex attack took place in the city center. However, it now emerges that the alleged incident took place at a high-end Dublin hotel where the sports star had booked the penthouse under his name. The Mirror reports that the hotel was near the village of Dundrum. Okay, let's continue. This is just the first article that came out within a couple days of the attack, over a year ago. None of these details have come out in the American media. Nothing I read. And this is tame. There he is. John Fitch is here. We got John Fitch. I can't hear him yet. You can't hear me? Oh, yep, there. Kind of. There we go. All right. Hold on 1 second. I can't hear you, though. Boom. Hold on, John. Let's see. We got boom. And then we'll take that down. And where are you? Hold on 1 second. I gotcha. There he is. Let's see. What's wrong with the audio? It's your phone. It should work.
Man, I'm not
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. You just got to talk up.
Me? I can
barely hear me.
Hear you at all?
Say, get rid of the headphone. You should be able to listen. You can just listen to your speaker. It won't mess it up.
But I don't know what's going on here.
What was I going to say? All right, so we might get him back. So yeah, no, his DNA was all over. His DNA, the WhatsApp messages are there. That's right. Hopefully, there you are. John, can you hear me?
There we go.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. America.
Oh.
Woo! We did it. We did it, guys. As I told you before.
America.
This is the guy right here. Hold on. I think I have you almost up right here by doing this. JohnFitch.net is the website. Okay. We've got his growing YouTube channel. I see you're gaining some subscribers, which I like. You're doing. I didn't see
some subscribers.
I didn't see your interview today.
A major road bump today, I guess.
So tell us what happened, John.
Somebody broke into my garage. I don't know what happened, but my garage door was open when I went out this morning at 8 a.m. And some of my equipment, my podcasting equipment, had been stolen.
All of it?
Not all of it. Just like it had to have been. I bet you money it was some kid on his way to school, because it was only stuff he could have fit in his bag. There's a lot of stuff here he could have taken. He took like an adapter, Focusrite, whatever thingy, and he took my headphones, my crappy headphones.
Did he take your camera too, or no?
No, he didn't.
Not your camera, so just your headphones, and what was the other thing he took? The receiver?
The Scarlett Focusrite audio, whatever you call it, the little red box.
I know what you're talking about. I got you.
Yeah.
So
it was specifically stole certain things. Some SoundCloud rapper, probably.
We lost this video, but we can still hear you, John. Hopefully, you can still see me.
Man.
But anyway,
I can hear you.
Yeah. That's for hear me. So McGregor. Okay, I watched the Ariel Helwani interview.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unbelievable piece of fluff and disinformation and promoting this guy as a family man and how he's so good with his kids and his kids growing up and things in perspective. And Ariel Helwani kind of tries to ease into the sexual assault allegations by starting with after all these legal problems and trying to say, is there anything you want to say about those? And he's like, no. And then he asks him if it was difficult to get into the United States because of all the legal issues. And he's like, oh, Ariel, oh, isn't the UFC the greatest company in the world? Behind the scenes and in the back. He admits that the UFC basically had to finagle to get him into the country. And then, without saying rape or sexual assault, several times the allegations are brought up. And the best McGregor can do is whisper to Ariel in shame, how would you feel if they were saying those things about you, Ariel? Like, that's it. I mean, it was a pretty stunning piece. The day before, I don't know if you saw the commercial. I certainly posted it, but they put out his Reebok commercial, and it's him in a small child's bedroom walking into a door with a teddy bear by it. I'm not even kidding. Jumping over a train set. I mean,
where's the Harvey Weinstein action figures at? Get Harvey in a towel,
dude.
Kung Fu grip, boob grip.
I mean, have you seen the commercial?
You sent me a clip, whatever. It's bizarre because I mean, you'd have to think it's gonna blow up in their face sooner or later.
Everybody knows it. And it looks, I was talking to my brother about it, and he's like, look, man, this is maybe their last money grab at this guy, and they know it. And it's like most people in Ireland are hip to his bullshit. They'll pay some people to come in and cheer for him or whatever, but it's not the fan base. Any hardcore MMA guy isn't that into it. And now what you have are the WWE casuals, and your only new market is to sell to the kids that like that. So, the people, think about the walkout.
So pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling, indeed. The walkout T-shirt is like a cartoon of the action figure they made for a sneaker for Conor McGregor when you can't wear shoes in the octagon.
Yep, money grab.
All right, so the other two big things, and we got to get your take on this, is that we know that McGregor has been reported at $3.8 million for this fight, which is a record for the UFC. But he made the claim.
Still garbage.
Well, hold on, John. This is where I knew you were going to just jump in there, but this is where it gets interesting. He says, what I'm about to tell you, he'd rather have upfront, but he says he made $50 million on the Khabib fight, and he expects to make $80 million on this fight. Now that's all back end. I would assume the reason that he would think he's going to make more on this fight is not because the pay-per-views are more or as in more expensive or will sell more, but because Khabib had pay-per-view points as a champion, and he had to split that with him somehow. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on McGregor saying, A, that he made $50 million last fight and that he could make $80 million this fight?
I mean, I don't believe a word this guy says. I really don't. I mean, if he made it outside of the UFC. He made it through other channels. Mm-hmm. Some other side sponsors, some other side deals. Somebody gave him money, but I don't think at all that it was something he was paid by the UFC. They don't have to. They don't have to pay out that kind of money. That's not necessary.
I'll say this, man. I didn't realize it until I looked into it when I saw the Reebok commercial, because actually that was one of the companies I hadn't gone hard on. By the way, in a full Reebok McGregor fucking jumpsuit in the Ariel press conference. But for fucking sure, man, 100%. Dude, they have like 5 different types of shoes, and I shit you not, since the deal, probably over about 150 men and women's products, including a hat line for this motherfucker, a fucking a halter top line for girls, plenty of cartoon T-shirts. I would assume that his money is coming not only from pay-per-view back end, but sales on merchandising, period. It has to be that.
And it's probably side deal stuff. It's nothing a part of whatever deals. You know, Reebok offered to do a side deal with him for extra stuff, more than likely. I don't think there was any way that it was UFC being generous and paying him what he's worth in any way.
Well, he said that basically he's at a one fight at a time contract with the UFC every time now. So I think that this has a dual purpose. Number one, This could be the cash grab. You know, the UFC could be hoping all they
Mm-hmm.
want that he wins and that they can sell it again, because clearly, if on the back end McGregor is going to make $80 million on this, I've been saying it, $500,000 or $500 million to $1 billion is what we're talking about to WME Entertainment and Disney and ESPN and the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of money they're fucking cutting up on this. There's no way that this isn't going to generate 10 plus times the revenue McGregor makes at the end of the day, no matter what. Don't you agree?
It's definitely going to make a lot of money for them. For me to believe that Conor's got these special deals and he's doing these things that no one else is doing the way he does it, I don't believe that that's realistic, because the ironclad grip that the UFC, that the WME has over the sport and over these athletes, it doesn't make any sense. Why? Why would they? They don't need him to make that other little pay bump. They're already in with ESPN. They're already cutting the deals without him. Like, he's more of a thorn in the side than he is a necessity. So I don't really believe that he's making that much money from the UFC. He may have side deals going on, which I'm sure are very profitable, but there's still just too much control by the UFC. Why would they pay somebody out that much money if they don't have to?
And, you know, with those kind of side deals, let's not forget that the last time that he was in a public forum was promoting his big side deal, Proper 12 whiskey, in Russia. And I think that the UFC kind of counted their lucky stars on that one alone, because if you look at that one, that's the last time they've let him out in public, and it's because you had somebody in Russian ask the rape question and then get scolded by the presenter. And here's the TMZ story about it. Rape question shut down in Russia. And that's the last time you haven't seen him on something that's just the Mac life, or, again, a staged, filmed, well-lit interview with Ariel Helwani, where it's clearly been set that you can't say the word sex, sexual assault, or anything close to that in this thing. And, I mean, what do you expect at the press conference? Do you think that the Burmese Brigade is going to be able to get out there and everybody else that's fucking pissed and shut this thing down? Are they going to be able to stop every protester and every media outlet from asking these questions?
They're certainly going to try. They're going to do their best to make sure this is just a rumor.
I mean, I don't know how you could say, you know, we were reading this first article before you came on, John, right, from Irish Central. And let me just tell you what the headline is. And this is, again, December 13th, now 13 months ago to the day, published. This is not and Irish Central is not a tabloid. This is the headline: Woman too afraid to give statement on alleged rape by Irish sports star. And it starts with this: police say all the evidence shows the mother of one was raped and very badly assaulted in that penthouse suite by the sportsman who was known to her. And in this article, they talk about the CCTV footage. They talk about gathering the DNA evidence. I mean, it's a pretty thorough report 2 days after this attack and where it took place, the Garde investigations, who police are speaking to, everything. And still to this day, not one American media outlet has published any of these details. I mean, what does that say to you about the state of the media in this country? I mean, we you know, I want to get into
especially when they go, you know, ape shit over other allegations on other people. And what's that? Asar, whatever his name, the comedian.
Oh, you talk about Aziz Ansari.
Yeah, Ansari. Yeah, Aziz Ansari. He had an awkward date.
Yeah. Didn't he try to go down on her or something? And like that was that. And like it sounded. I read the whole thing. It's like sounded like the guy had a bad date, misread the situation, and it ended there respectfully.
She didn't speak up. She didn't say, "Hey, this is," you know, like she just went along with it, and then was like, "Well, why didn't he understand my body language later?"
Well, what does it say about this?
There's all these, you know, they're coming after certain people for certain reasons. Who knows? I wonder if he was Aziz was in like a contract negotiation at the time. You have to wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
John, I'm supposed to be the conspiracy theorist here, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Just the conspiracies coming from John Fitch today.
Just saying. I mean, there's got to be incentives. What are the incentives? What's the incentive behind them going after somebody so hard when clearly it doesn't sound like anything really happened? Versus when something like on this magnitude happens, it's huge. It seems like there's tons of evidence. It's a huge story, yet it gets nothing. Mm-hmm. Like there's something going on there. It's not just a coincidence.
I would agree 100%. And you know what? Let's use another example. You know, everybody was so quick to demonize Julian Assange when those quote-unquote sexual assault allegations were him, to the point where he had to flee to that embassy in Ecuador. That's what started the whole thing, John, were these sexual assault allegations. And they were allegations that a woman who had consensually had sex with him the night before, he was in bed with her the next morning and apparently like tried to slip it in or something during the early morning. And that was the whole investigation. He is in that embassy forever. It's not until after they pick him up that he's finally cleared of that. But the mainstream media globally smeared him as someone who was a sexual abuser. And a guy like McGregor is getting sneaker fucking commercials with teddy bears. I mean, that's like sometimes, you know, again, me and my brother talk, and I sit here and he's like, "Yep, man, that's the real world. We're in the fucking upside down. Get ready." I mean, it's only going to get worse, and it's hard to believe that. I want to shift gears just for a minute because you're doing more news videos, these short, like, you know, 8 to 15 minute videos. And you did one on the Soleimani assassination, and I'm always looking at
Mr. Salami.
I knew you were gonna. You love that salami.
Yep.
That was one of the things.
He looks like case sausage right now, so call him salami.
Oh Jesus, John. And you know, I just want to say, first of all, I always appreciate a separate opinion, and one of the great things about the video is you're like, listen, I'm not a pro-war guy. I realize he killed a lot of ISIS guys. That doesn't make the guy a hero. And, you know, I've seen a lot of videos of people tearing down pictures of this guy within Iran, et cetera. And I guess that my point would be this. You know, I'm kind of in agreement with the fact that the guy is probably not a hero, but that doesn't change the fact a lot of people saw him that way. For instance, you know, a lot of people supposedly saw John McCain as a hero, and he had nowhere near the impact of taking somebody.
Depends on what year and what political party you're affiliated with.
On something like
but even depends on your support of John McCain.
Yeah, but there was. I don't even think there was.
But the big point of that video was just pointing out the ludicrousy of celebrating him like a martyr and a hero, like you know, rich white middle-aged women with lots of cats taking to the streets and protesting, and the amount of protesting and the vigorous energy put into the protesting, I haven't seen since I don't know when. I didn't see it even with the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Oh, I disagree
people protested.
I would say it was a different time. There were people
protesting, but I don't think it was as intense as the anti-bombing of Salami.
Well, I'll say this. Number one, I would say the majority of those people that were out there protesting were not genuine in the sense that had it been, you know, their side that did this, Barack Obama, they would have been out there, which is a problem. I'd say the next problem with that is that they're not saying get out of Syria and have no idea how we got involved in Syria through Operation Timber Sycamore and our CIA, and again, the Obama administration, because this war on terror is there. But I'd say, number one, it is extremely dangerous to drone bomb any military leader across the world when they hold an official title, such as in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And I would say it's even more brazen to do so in a nation that's not yours when that person was invited by their so-called prime minister, whether he's supposed to be our puppet or not. I can't imagine sending in a general that wasn't beloved. So we don't send in Colin Powell. We send in Sergeant Steve Hoffenberg that nobody knows, or whatever, you know, any generic guy. and that happens, I mean, you would have hoorah in this country to fucking go into that nation and kill them. You know, if one of our generals was called into a nation just to mediate a situation and he was drone bombed by another nation, it'd be a fucking shitstorm. It'd be World War fucking III or an invasion, and you couldn't even argue it in the mainstream media. You'd be unpatriotic. So, you know, my problem is that most people aren't looking at it from that perspective. They're jumping on it because it's another fuck Trump thing. But my bigger point is this is extremely dangerous. You know,
it's a very nuanced situation. You can be happy that a bad dude is dead, but it does intensify things. But at the same time, I always had this feeling that Iran is just this paper tiger that doesn't really do shit except fund terrorism. Wow. So I don't know why we're so we don't want to make them upset. I don't know why.
I think that we should
pull our troops out. First off, I'm against our troops even being over there.
Yeah.
But since they're there, and it looks like they're going to be doing anyways, I don't know if we should be all fearful. I mean, we have the biggest guns. We are the best with them. I don't know. I just want my oil.
Well, the thing is that I don't think that they are fearful in the sense that, you know, we're worried about an invasion. I think we should be worried about invading them. One, because they're huge, 60 million plus people. This is not this is not Iraq. This is not Afghanistan. Two, they have huge oil reserves that they have deals with China and Russia on. Three, with the the Saudi, Israeli, Pakistani alliance in that region, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, all under us. You know, the big domino to fall would be Iran to get them into that conglomerate and be, quote unquote, more NATO friendly. Now, the caveat to that is we kind of fucked that shit up of being secular on purpose to destabilize them. You look what we did with Gladio and Mossadegh and basically destabilizing them and bringing the Ayatollah back. Well, you know, are we ever, you know, we'll never take ownership of that until we dominate that region militarily with our, you know, Saudi and Israeli allies. You know, me and you are much more in the sense of, you know, you have those people that think Israel runs everything. And sure, there are powerful people in Israel, but one of the reasons that Israel's so powerful is because it's basically, you know, our pseudo-military base there, you know? There's a huge alliance, and that doesn't mean that their Mossad doesn't fuck over our CIA or our NSA, doesn't go after their IDF, et cetera, et cetera. It's very nuanced, but at the end of the day, they have common enemies because they don't dominate that region and they don't dominate Syria. I mean, Golan Heights region, all this stuff. I want out, man. I want our troops home and focused on, you know, other things, on rebuilding this country. For instance, I don't know if you saw this story, but they were running, I mean, I know it made Drudge, but I've tweeted out before. They were running a story that Iran may have a fleet, John, of killer communist dolphins. I'm not kidding. That's not the Onion.
Oh, man.
Killer communist dolphins. Now, how do
you make a dolphin communist?
That's Thank you. Thank you. So, like, you know,
how is that?
Remote animals have been a thing for a long time.
We share all the fish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our CIA and their KGB, et cetera, you can look up like the cyborg cat, where they were remote controlling a cat using electrodes in their brain. A lot of this stuff is actually in Of Minds of Men. DARPA was another big one. But the Russians did have these dolphins that they were training for surveillance and sometimes suicide missions. So there was this convoluted story on military.com of how these dolphins that had been trained had to move to Iran and nobody can track them, and they fear the Iranians now possessed like a more advanced version of these dolphins. But as I was saying, even if you had
what about the dolphin with human brains from China?
Is that real? Because we could get there, bro.
I mean, why wouldn't it be? They have the monkey whatever things.
They have the monkey pigs.
Want to talk about those?
Yeah, the monkey pigs.
Well, why not a monkey pigs? Why not a human dolphin?
Well, who knows what they got underground, man? I mean, if you believe if you believe Annie Jacobson, and she's done several really great books. I think it was LA Weekly she used to work for, but she did the books Area 51. She did DARPA, the Pentagon's Brain, and then she did another one on Project Paperclip. All subjects I'm super fucking interested in. And with the Area 51 book, she claims that the Roswell incident was Stalin and the Russians with technology. Basically, he had, after World War II, he had gotten a hold of the Horton brothers. And the Horton brothers, you can look them up. I did a whole video on this. They built the first flying wing under Germany. They were German engineers. So basically, you know, our stealth bomber that we saw in like 1990 for the first time, right? Their World War II technology is what that was based on. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. It was nowhere near as advanced as what you saw, at least the public Horton wings. And I mean, some of them were made out of wood at some point, etc. But then you start seeing them in metal when they started being the first, Nazi prototypes. And you're like, damn, man, this is fucking pretty badass. So when the war was over, Stalin got the Horton brothers, and they had been rumored to have actually invented a flying disc with a separate propulsion system that wasn't rocket-based. And she claims that essentially that crash in Roswell was Stalin sending us a message via that technology with basically genetically modified humans to be made look like aliens. So like he would crash it. They'd see these fucking freak shows that they created in a lab or tortured or did whatever with and create hysteria. Don't know if it's true, but it's an interesting read.
That's it is interesting. It's very interesting. The Horton brothers. They sound like some guys from my hometown that used to make moonshine.
Dude, I went deep on this. When I found this out, I was like, are you kidding me? Let's find out what these guys are like. So you go and you look, and so read the book. I'll send you a PDF file of it. It's a great read, but they go to find these guys, the United States, after the fact, in a thing called Operation Harass. So the story doesn't end at Roswell. Through Operation Harass, they actually send CIA agents, I believe at the time. I think they were actually the CIA, and they weren't the OSS at that time. Could have been OSS, to round up the Horton brothers. And they do. And then the Horton brothers are forced to work for the U.S. government on these covert projects for years. And, they live into be old men. And there's like several interviews with them. And there's like one where somebody tries to bring up the flying disc and they just won't even talk about it. So, technology. Yes. John, you got any picks?
Very interesting.
Yeah, oh, dude.
It's interesting stuff. It's also, you can't ever forget that they put out stuff just to confuse people too.
Yep. I agree.
So
but you know what?
There's people that report on stuff, that did stuff, that took part in stuff, and they believe it's real. And they're supposed to believe it's real because then they talk about it and the rest of us start thinking it's real too.
Bob Lazar, right? That's what I come to think of. When you hear about Bob Lazar's story, I think a lot of it is real, but I don't think that those craft were interdimensional craft from another galaxy, the Zeta Reticuli region. I don't buy it. We got OP sticker from Flick Off. We appreciate that sticker, my friend. You got any picks? Do you actually have a pick with Cowboy versus McGregor?
Oh man, I mean it's hard to pick that. I mean, a lot of off time with McGregor. You have the new adopted steroid use rules, the more lenient rules. Those are factors that are going into it. Cowboy doesn't seem to do well against guys that are top 10, but at the same time, like I don't know if Conor's anywhere near top 10. To me, it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it's not a main event fight. This is an undercard fight that's fun, and you should have a meritocracy-based, championship at the end of the night. I'm a sportsman. I'm not a pro wrestling guy. So, like, when you tried to sell me pro wrestling stuff, I'm not that interested.
It's only $64.95 with the ESPN Plus membership. That's $5.95 a month. What do you mean?
Oh man!
I mean, come on. I think there's like 3 other top 15 guys on the card.
What a deal!
What a deal indeed. Last time I checked.
Cowboy and Cerrone, and then the all girl fights.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I said it should be Cowboy and Cerrone, and the rest of the card is just girl fights. If you really want to get your money's worth.
There are I think the featured fight on the prelims is Rachel Madfray. I forget who Macy Barber. So that is kind of like the feature one to try to get you to buy the McGregor Cowboy fight. Again, hopefully none of this is going to happen. I still believe in you, gang. I think that we can shut it down at the press conference coming up. Last time I checked, 3.5 to 1 dog on Cowboys. 3.5 to 1.
They're going to have premeditated questions, pre-approved people asking the questions. They're going to have a sheet that they hand out to everybody. These are appropriate, approved questions. These are not allowed. These questions, these statements are not allowed. Yeah, man.
I think they're going to have more than that. I think they're going to have triple the security. I mean, if you look at this piece from, I sent you that Forbes piece, and I actually went over some of that Sherdog piece that you sent me.
I just read the first part about Conor. Sherdog article.
Well, I mean, they're pretty much admitting that it's going to be okay to cover more after this fight, or they wouldn't have made it in the first place. But this guy, Trent Reinsmith, he also basically did this MMA media needs to ask Conor McGregor about sexual assault investigations, which is on Bloody Elbow, which is SB Nation. And he outlines outright being told that he will not get access to the UFC. After being told about a story in 2019 that an employee did not appreciate, he updated the story and then got this from a PR person. You barely updated this post. The headline is still misleading. WTF. I know you were credentialed for one of our events this year. This is going to be your approach to coverage. Don't even bother asking next time. And he did, and they denied his 2 most recent requests.
Yep, that's how they play ball, man. You do what we say. You're a PR person. You're not a journalist. You're not allowed to ask questions that are not pre-approved. That's how it goes. This is pro wrestling, guys. You're not allowed to ask real questions. Come on.
I know that on the return of Conor McRapist Day, you actually have a seminar going on. Why don't you tell the people about that?
Yes, I'll be teaching a basic self-defense seminar in San Jose at the American Kickboxing Academy. You don't need any precursor knowledge at all to take this seminar. I'm going to focus quite a bit on avoidance and space management. Right, you want to make sure that you're hard to fight right away. Keep your distance, keep some space between your hips and their hips, and then show a few things from bad situations where the person maybe gets a body lock or a bear hug on you. But yeah, it's going to be basic stuff, and I'm going to kind of get a feel for that, see how it's accepted, see how people like it, and adopt it more, and take that around on tour a little bit here in the Bay and some other places, and eventually I'm going to create a basic self-defense online course for people to be able to take.
But for now, you actually have the Patreon, right? Tell people about the Patreon.
Yeah, I have a Patreon right now. Patreon /John Fitch, and I do a weekly technique video. So I'll take videos of my seminars, and I'll cut out little technique pieces, and I'll put those up once a week for everybody. I also got some other tiers with some other things you can get a hold of through those other tiers. But yeah, just trying to build up my online course volume, get some more stuff out there so people can learn all over the world, and then hopefully I'll be able to land some seminars. People want some hands-on instruction and come out and visit.
Well, John, I actually just signed up with a thing called rockfin.com. That's ROKFIN.com. Are you aware of this site?
I have heard of Rockfin. I know that Ben
Askren.
Askren, yes. Ben Askren is on it and promotes it quite a bit. But I'm not sure. I haven't used it. I'm not sure how it works. I've met a couple people who use like the Teachable, and there's like 30 different platforms for online teaching and courses. It's crazy.
Well, with Rockfin, what's cool is they reached out to me, And I had no idea about the platform, but I thought it was cool that it was actually MMA, BJJ, wrestling, and then free thinking media. And all I could think about is that's a great fit for something like mixed martial mindset, right? And so I talked with the VPs, and I got creator status, and essentially you get put behind a paywall when you want. You can share whatever you like, but it also allows me to live stream. It takes a little longer to set it up, like a few minutes. I have to get in there early, and then I can go live. But you can interact with the audience. I think it's $9.99 a month to get access to everything premium. But you can also post things that aren't premium. So we'll see where it goes, and I'm hoping that my fans get there already on the first day. How many followers are we up to? It says 29, but I think we got more than that, don't we? In the first day, 39. We're almost at 40 followers already. So look at that, and who knows? Maybe that would be a good fit for you to put some of your Patreon stuff on as well. Maybe double dip there.
Yeah, because I've got more than 80 videos up on my Patreon already, or technique videos. So there's plenty of stuff to go through. I have my meal plan on there, which I have at least one guy who's been using that successfully for like a year now at least, and he's down to a nice ripped 180, I believe, and it's been working out for him. Got some weight stuff on there too, some lifting, my lifting program.
You're a fit man for 40, John. I'm very jealous. I need to get in there. When I look in the mirror, I'm no John Fitch. I am no John Fitch. And speaking of no John Fitch, any word on a Bellator return? I know there hasn't been a Bellator card and won't be for another, I think, on the 22nd. Anything out there? Any news?
I have not gotten any news. I'm still trying to get confirmation on some pictures to use, because I have a weight cutting book that I'm ready to get out to people, but I need 3 photos. So I'm waiting to get approval on 3 photos so that I can do a great job of getting that book out, and people can learn how to cut weight like a true mixed martial arts legend. tired of watching all these people miss weight. It's not that hard.
I love you saying that, because I would imagine it would be so difficult for me to like put down the cheesecake, and so many other people, but not for John Fitch. He's very regimentated. We had technical difficulties, guys, so I'm going to let John go before we close out. John, thank you so much, and I guess we'll get back after either the McGregor fight happens or it doesn't, huh?
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens with that. We'll all be on the edge of our seat for sure.
All right. Thank you again, John. So, folks, if you want to support me, you can thumbs this video up, sub, and share. We're doing it 3 to 7 times a day on this channel. Let's get rid of this video thing right there. And look, check it out. Documentaries playlist right here. Shade the Motion Picture, Invisible Empire, Fabled Enemies, and much more. All my documentary films free right here. Very easy to find. Follow me on Twitter, but really, share this thread. Share the McGregor thread. Here it is. Okay. Bazinga Bazongo. Thank you so much for that Mini Jovanovic super chat. Really appreciate that as well. You can follow me on Twitter. And then if you want to financially support me outside of joining Rockfin, I'm doing a video a day, 5 days a week exclusively over there. There was an exclusive video today you can only get at Rockfin. Check it out. It's right here. How did this happen? A man who led Drag Time Story Hour protest found dead. And we're going to be doing that 5 days a week, where there's one video over at Rockfin you can't find anywhere else. So hopefully, this is going to kick into gear. We're going to find time to do a lot of content and keep on rocking. So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me, guys. Remember, the audio version of this podcast is available exclusively at thegruelingtruth.com. And make sure that if you want to listen to this or share it with others, you go to thegruelingtruth.com. It will be available tomorrow. I want to thank you all. I love you. Let's stop this McGregor bullshit from happening, and we'll see you on the flip side.